In this video, we will be going over the AP Psychology vocab list for Unit 0, which is updated for the 2025 digital exam. This account will go over all the words in AP Psychology in a quick and simple way. Definitions will not include confusing or sophisticated words. Everyday words will be used. So let's get started. Overconfidence is when someone believes they are smarter than they really are, such as being cocky. Hindsight bias is when you believe that you knew something for the entire time, such as someone saying, I knew it all along. Confirmation bias is only paying attention to information that supports what you believe in and ignoring contradicting info. Theory is any idea that explains why or how stuff works based on a lot of evidence. Hypothesis is a descriptive guess about what would happen in an experiment. Falsifiable is a possibility that an idea, hypothesis, or theory can be wrong. Operational definition is a detailed description of the procedures. Replication is repeating a study to see if the results are the same. Case study is a super detailed examination of an individual or a group. Meta-analysis is combining results from multiple studies to find overall trends. Naturalistic observation is that the subjects are unaware that they are being experimented. Survey is questioning people to gather information, but survey is not as detailed as case studies. Social desirability bias is answering in a way that makes you look good. Self-report bias is when people don't accurately report their behavior or feelings. Experimenter bias is when a researcher's expectations affect the results or how they interpret data. Population is the entire group you want to study. Sample is a smaller group taken from the population for a study. Sampling bias is when the sample for a study is not from the population, so the results are inaccurate. Random sample is when everyone in the population has an equal chance of being chosen. Convenience sampling is choosing participants who are easiest to reach. Representative sample is a sample that accurately matches the characteristics of the population. Experimental methodology is a research method where researchers manipulate one thing, independent variable, to see the effect on another thing, dependent variable. Non-experimental methodology is a research method where the researcher observes and measures variables without manipulating them. Correlation is a measure of relationship between two variables showing how one may predict the other. Correlation coefficient is a number ranging from -1 to 1 that shows the strength between two variables. Variable is anything that can change in a study. Scatter plot is a graph that shows the relationships between two variables. Illusory correlation is thinking there's a relationship between two things when there isn't. Regression towards the mean is the tendency for extreme results to be closer to average next time. Experimental group is the group that receives the treatment or change in an experiment. Random assignment is assigning participants to groups randomly. Single blind procedure is an experiment where participants don't know if they are receiving the actual treatment or a placebo. Double-blind procedure is an experiment where neither the participants and researchers know which participants are receiving the treatment or placebo. Placebo is a substance or treatment with no real effect used as the control variable. Placebo effect is when participants experience changes because they believe they are currently taking the treatment even when they aren't. Confounding variable is an outside factor that might affect the results of an experiment. Validity is how well a study or test measures what it's supposed to measure. Quantitative research is research that mostly has numbers for data. Qualitative research is research that relies on non-numerical data like narrative and experiences. Likert scales look like this, and they range from very dissatisfied to very satisfied. Informed assent is agreement from a minor to participate in a research given in a way so there is no confusion. Informed consent is when participants are fully informed about a study before joining. Institutional review is when a research is being reviewed by a committee to make sure it is safe for everyone. Protect from harm is making sure that participants are not exposed to unnecessary danger. Confidentiality is protecting private info of participants by not sharing personal info. Debriefing is telling participants what the study was really about after it's finished. Research confederates is people who secretly work with the researchers and pretend to be regular participants to influence others. Descriptive statistics is summarizing data to describe patterns in a clear way. Histogram looks like this, and these are different from bar graphs because histograms do not have gaps between the bars. Measure of central tendency is a way to find the center of a dataset using mean, median, and mode. Percentile rank is when you score an 85% on a test and the percentile rank is 90%, you did better than 90% of the people who took the test. Skewed distribution is when the data is not evenly spread out and leads to one side. Measures of variation shows how spread out the data is using range and standard deviation. Standard deviation is a measure of how much scores vary from the average. Normal curve, it looks like this, and the mean is always 68.26%. Inferential statistics is using data from a small group to make guesses for a larger group. Statistical significance, it tells us if a result is likely due to chance or if it's legit. For example, if a new teaching method improved test score, it was probably not log. Effect size is a measure of how strong the relationship between variables are. So that's it for Unit 0. Subscribe and follow to stay tuned for other units. And please let me know in the comments what can be improved, and Unit 1 will be coming soon.